Shut up and sit down.
Shut up and sit down. You're listening to The Useful Idiots. And welcome back, everybody. Paul, how long has it been?
A fortnight?
A fortnight. Just like that awesome game we love playing so much. How long did you play there at night?
Just maybe 30 minutes. I have no idea what I'm doing. None.
Did your kids help you out at all?
They knew all the controls off the top of their head.
They don't play it, you said.
They say they don't.
Yeah, they're hiding something from you.
I hope that's the only thing.
All right, so we did take a long break for the show. We had a lot of things come up. We were a little busy with life, but we decided it's time to bring ourselves back.
Zombie mode.
Coming back from the dead. Well, I think that a good reason why we did start today was you actually got a surprise in the mail that you brought up to me when you kind of wanted to come in and talk about the show, and it was nuts. I mean, you saw that I was angry, visually very angry, and I was emotionally just upset about this.
I got pretty angry, but your body language just told the whole story.
Yeah, there was just a rage inside of me that it was, it almost seemed unnecessary, but it really was like just an invasion of privacy to the max in my mind. And I'm actually going to let you take over and just kind of explain what it was. And then we'll talk about what we found out, at least a little bit we found about it.
All right, so a little bit about the story. I grew up in Chicago, Illinois, in the 3rd District, which is hotly contested right now. Dan Lipinski's going up against Marie Newman. And, of course, there's the governor's race, too, in Illinois. So it's pretty hot as far as primary season goes politically. I think, the only ad you see on TV right now are political ads?
Yeah, I don't
know how much TV you watch. Well,
None.
it's on
YouTube as well. It's on YouTube. You'll be watching and they kind of target you, and I'll get to watch J.B. Pritzker videos. Bruce Rauner, evil, stuff like that.
He hates the working man. So in any case, at my parents' old address, I got a letter in the mail. I moved. That's another one of those life things that kind of delayed the show a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I'm not registered at my new address, but at my old address, where my parents live, I got this letter in the mail, and the letter says, I couldn't find the physical copy, so I'm gonna have to read it off the picture I took in my phone. It says, Illinois State Voter Report. I should almost do this in a silly voice, but Dear Paul, what if your friends, your neighbors, and your community knew whether you voted? So many people fail to vote. We've been talking about the problem for years, but it only seems to get worse. This year, we're taking a new approach. We're sending this mailing to you, your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues at work, and your community members to publicize who does and who does not vote. This chart shows you how many people have voted in the past. After the March 20th election, we intend to mail an updated chart. You and your friends, your neighbors, and other people you know will all know who voted and who did not vote. Do your civic duty, vote. And after that paragraph, there's like a chart, and it shows me, my address, going back to November 2014 up until now. So from 14 to 2018. It shows whether or not I voted at all. And then it shows how many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 other people, most of whom I know, and whether or not they voted, including my father. My father's on this list. And a person I used to work with. It's kind of very random. Like if they would just pick random people that lived on my parents' block or on their street. Like, I could totally understand that, but there's a person I worked with on here who lives, or I used to work with, and he lives probably about a mile, maybe almost a mile from my parents' house in some, a random street. And then somebody I went to college with, or who has the same name as someone who I went to college with. I'm not sure if he actually lived at this address. Yeah. But man, that's kind of creepy, because especially the people I used to work with and the guy I went to school with, and it says whether or not they voted.
Yeah. Now I did see that they were all on the same street. I'm not going to say the street out loud.
Yeah.
For people who listen, I don't want them finding out. But they were all on the same street. Is that a major street? Like, a lot of people would live on that street, or is it just kind of maybe like a couple blocks long? And it's kind of surprising.
It's just an ordinary Chicago residential street. Like, there's nothing special about it.
So yeah, they really did pick people close by and that and they have all their statistics on.
Like, where did they get their information from?
Where did they get the information from? Now, we did. I don't know if you did, but I know I did email that organization trying to find out where they got their information from, because
you're not going to get anything. I don't even know why they have an email address posted.
Yeah, it's just a formality. All right, we definitely tried, and it didn't work out in my favor. I didn't get a response back. You, both of our outrage, and you also sent that picture to a lawyer friend of yours, just out of curiosity of what someone could do or should do in this situation, to see if that's normal or if that's okay. And what did he say you should do?
Well, I talked to a few lawyers. I don't know why I know so many, but one was very alarmed, and he said I should go directly to the Illinois Attorney General, and I went on the Attorney General's website, and they have a lot of consumer protection reports that you could file, or consumer complaints. And I didn't see anything exactly that says voter fraud or voter intimidation. But I did file something online, and I got a generic email response back, and we'll see what happens from there.
That's it's kind of offensive that they didn't even bother responding back. I'm a little disappointed. But
well, I mean, it's a huge office. I mean, it might take a few days. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll be able to follow up on that in a future episode if we get anything. If we don't, we're still going to follow up on that.
I mean, voter fraud in Illinois.
You're trying to tell me that like John F. Kennedy won an entire election off that or something?
It's possible.
Yeah, so we'll be able to find out what's going on. I found that to be, what did he say? Discerning? Is that the correct word? You would say?
Disturbing?
Disturbing, maybe? Sure, disturbing. I didn't like that. Luckily, I didn't get anything from them, so I can know that I'm not maybe being tracked by some group. Who knows who they are.
I did. There is one media outlet that published a story about this, or at least that I saw.
Someone in Illinois?
Well, no, it was that conservative group, Gateway Pundit.
Oh, yeah, you did. You never answered me back when I asked you who that was or what it is about. I was I don't know, maybe just saving it for the show. But let's hear it. Who is this Gateway Pundit, and what did they say?
Well, I didn't do exactly my due diligence to find out exactly who they are. I did read a little bit. They're definitely a conservative leaning website.
Okay.
They colored this organization as a shady liberal group, which maybe. I mean, I don't know if they're liberal necessarily. I mean, Illinois is fairly Democratic leaning, but I didn't see any evidence suggesting that they were liberal based on what it said. I'm looking at the story right now.
Yeah, go ahead and look at it, because did you end up reading the whole thing or just
it's just a quick
it?
It's a quick blurb. Like it's not even a very long article. It compares it to something MoveOn.org did in 2012.
Yeah,
but
we did see that with Oregon and Oklahoma both had similar incidences with things like this. It was all by MoveOn. So,
but it's funny because I'm not used to Illinois getting so much political attention this early in a race. You know, like
it's like a gubernatorial. It's not even the actual election yet. It's just we do have some pretty high end people for the Democrats. J.B. Pritzker, he's connected really high with Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Mike Madigan. Who else did he have? I don't know who else. There's a lot of people.
Now, you would think after the last general election with Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton that they wouldn't, that the Democrats wouldn't get a candidate who is so. What's he doing in there? He's just in there for his money, more or less.
Yeah, just establishment. You thought that maybe they'd be trying to make a move towards somebody a little more on the outside, maybe even a little more on the progressive side, as Bernie Sanders would be, or Elizabeth Warren. But no, they're holding strong with the establishment.
Although Pritzker is, he does say the right things. He says he's for all the liberal progressive causes.
Oh yeah, I've read his questionnaires and interviews, and even I went away impressed. a little annoyed, but impressed.
Now the thing that I did talk to one other person who actually received a letter similar to this, and he wasn't nearly as outraged as he just kind of took it like a grain of salt and said, whatever, that's how Illinois is. But he still lives in the district where Dan Lipinski is running against Marie Newman on the Democrat side, incumbent Dan Lipinski. And it's kind of funny because these two candidates are kind of there are distinct differences between them. I know you're not from the same district. You didn't grow up with like Dan Lipinski like I did. See the thing, Dan Lipinski, he's kind of. I like how he votes.
He votes
more or less. He's a conservative Democrat. There's very very few of these left in Congress at all.
Yeah, I agree. I have noticed I don't really agree with him whatsoever, but he is much more of a conservative Democrat. But what about his opponent this time around?
Well, his opponent, he doesn't usually get opponents. He usually runs unopposed. But this time he has a challenger, Marie Newman. And she is as liberal and progressive as they come. Pro-gun control, wants undocumented immigrants to stay. That was in a story about her. As liberal and progressive as they come. But the thing that doesn't fit, at least to me, is she's like a former advertising executive. She's worked for companies. She's started nonprofits. She's big in the anti-bullying scene from what I saw. It's almost like she's playing the role of the socialist, but really maybe she's just a capitalist.
Yeah, it seems like she would be. What was she again? A chief marketing officer or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. She was the advertising executive.
Advertising executive? Okay.
So I mean, that's just her marketing herself. She's just marketing herself as the liberal and a progressive. I mean, who knows? Maybe she might vote that way. Maybe she might actually feel that way. But I mean, like at least am I about to give Barack Obama some credit? I think I am.
Let's hear it.
Well, like Barack Obama, he came from he had all these socialist leanings, but he worked as a community organizer, and he got a lot of flack for that. But at least it's consistent. Like, this girl came from the private sector, advertising executive. She's trying to run against a quote-unquote career politician like Dan Lipinski, but she has all the background of a capitalist. Like,
so, really, is this strange?
If I was a leftist, I wouldn't trust her.
Oh. So it's okay. I just didn't know if it was
If I
strange
if I if I was.
that a politician would be one thing and pretend to be something else. I just didn't know if that was strange or.
I mean, she lives in Lagrange.
Does she really?
Yeah.
Ah, real close.
Yeah,
Real close.
she lives in Lagrange, and I mean, I know you're probably familiar with Lagrange. That's probably a upper middle class suburb.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I
I mean,
mean,
that could be even upper. That could be even upper class. The surrounding areas are definitely upper class.
so I mean, I don't know. The Democrats, they always want to fancy themselves as being the party of the people or the common man. But yet all these people running like J.P. Pritzker, who's the favorite on the Democratic side to win, and Maureen Newman, like they're kind of both cut from the same cloth.
Yeah,
It's not like it's Joe from working down in the factory running for office,
yeah. It's not Joe the plumber, right?
Wasn't even thinking about Joe the plumber thing.
Hey, Paul, give us a moment. We're gonna have to take a break, but we'll come back in just a moment. We can go and catch up on the rest of the representatives, and then we'll talk about the governorship as well. All right?
All right.
All right. So we've been talking about the machine politics of Chicago and Illinois.
Da, 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 da. It's a Star Wars reference. I know you're not
confused for a while.
not a big Star Wars guy, but
No, I was always kind of cool when I was a kid.
I'm just gonna laugh for 5 minutes.
All right.
Oh, I forgot about your alter ego, the guy that knows all the cool songs and the trends.
Yeah, man, I was popular at one point.
Yeah, how's that going for you?
Well, I don't know what happened to that guy. He's disappeared somewhere. So, really quick, we do have the governor race. Well, we have the gubernatorial.
Gubernatorial, isn't that how it's said?
I thought it was gubernatorial.
Gubernatorial.
I'm gonna trust you. Gubernatorial. You're smarter and you're older, so.
Ooh, much older, wiser.
And wiser, exactly. So we had the Republicans, which was Bruce Rauner, the incumbent. Now he does have a challenger, Gene Ives, which all polls right now are showing Bruce Rauner being the more popular by about 10
That's
votes
kind
or
of
so.
that's kind of strange to hear you say Bruce Rauner and the word popular in the same sentence, because if you believe the media, he has no popularity.
No, he's like Mitt Romney throwing your grandma off a cliff.
And riding with the family dog on top of the car. Isn't
Yeah,
that another thing they got Mitt Romney about?
Yeah. And then we have the Democrats with J.B. Pritzker. And who are the other two? Is it Kennedy? And who's the third?
Oh, you're going to make me try and remember the third guy's name.
Yeah, you try to remember it, but
who has 22%, by the way, I saw.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's John F. Kennedy.
Daniel Biss.
Daniel Bliss or Biss?
Biss.
Daniel Biss. So Daniel Biss, J.B. Pritzker, and a Kennedy boy.
And really, from what I read about them on the issues, there's really no difference between the three of them.
The only one that I noticed was J.B. Pritzker did believe in legalization of marijuana.
So does Biss.
Biss does? I thought that Biss and Kennedy both said that they wanted medical with possible legalization of marijuana.
Oh, I thought Kennedy was full on like no legalization.
Wow, maybe you know more than I do.
No, I don't know. Maybe you know more than I do.
I was reading it just before, but I definitely was reading. I had like 6 people in my head, so I was messing them all up. And I know J.B. Pritzker definitely wanted legalization of marijuana, and if Biss did as well, I actually would support both of those guys. But I actually liked what. Okay, take it with a grain of salt. I liked what J.B. Pritzker said about it, because he did say that he wanted to try and reform the penitentiary system because of this. As of right now, the laws are throwing non-violent criminals into jail cells because of marijuana, and I find that to be just evil. But he did say that he wanted to help minority, black and brown people run the manufacturing and shops for for marijuana, and I just thought that was a strange thing to say.
No white people make marijuana in the state.
That's it kind of would have sounded like how he said it, and I didn't like how he said that because he really did say that they were historically, systemically oppressed for so long that now they deserve to be able to control the benefits of the marijuana production and sales. And
So he wants the local government to pick the winners and losers of who's
Yes.
going to sell marijuana.
That's how he's explaining what he wants, and that's everybody I think should be quite enraged by something as insane as that.
Well, I mean, if you frame it into how Illinois politics and Chicago machine politics is, politicians give contracts to their buddies. I mean, this sounds like no different than that. We're going to legalize marijuana. Oh, and my buddies are going to be the ones that sell it. I mean, to me, that's how it sounds.
Yeah, Jesse White, you supported me. Yeah, I'll help your constituents.
Right.
That's how I'll do it for you.
Right. You have this guy that that wants to run a business or whatever. Here you go. Like, there's your marijuana selling license, or however they'll do it.
Too. He was saying he
Here's $500,000 to start it off. You know.
He did want to help with the financing, and I'm guessing the ease of access to the licenses. So just there's a war on white men.
I don't know if I'd go that far,
There's
but
war
I
on
mean,
white men, Paul.
there doesn't have to be that much red tape to legalize marijuana. I mean, you could just legalize it, and it's already out there. Like, it's already on the streets now. It's not like oh, how are we gonna get it into the states? How are we gonna sell it? How are we gonna get it in here? Like, it's already here now. They just don't. They just don't want to admit that.
Exactly. They just want to make money off it. I mean, J.B. Pritzker may be an actual sympathetic figure here, and he actually may believe that as of right now,
you mean you're sympathetic towards him, or he has sympathy for others?
He may, as a politician, I know it's surprising, but he actually may have sympathy towards the minority community who not oppressed, but maybe oppressed compared to some people, but unfairly thrown into prisons for many years. I actually do believe that to an extent, and especially in Chicago or LA, some areas like that. So hey, if you want to,
in Colorado or other states where they legalize marijuana, I would imagine they're in similar situations there, where there's a lot of people in jail who are there for selling it illegally. So once it's legalized, is your sentence commuted, or do you still have to serve it out?
He did say, because I was reading his interview, he did say when I was reading his interview that he did want to, as soon as he does pass it, which he intends on it if he wins, try and work with jail cells prisons to lessen the sentences that are already on the books. Because if you were to make it illegal, I mean, you can't really keep somebody in jail for something that's not legal, right?
I suppose I haven't followed it closely as to what other states do.
Yeah, neither do I. So, that was one thing I actually approved of by Pritzker, but that does not mean that I approve of him whatsoever. I mean, he was and is involved with many major political figures in the Democratic machine, including Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama. He also was caught with in a meeting with Rod Blagojevich, who basically, in a sense, was saying, "You scratched our back, I'm going to scratch yours now," because he did apparently ask J.D. Pritzker if the state treasurer was a good position for J.D. to get appointed to, and J.D. apparently on the
So Pritzker, he wanted us to be the treasurer, or like what was that?
Oh, there's a.
He was trying to get Blagojevich to get him appointed there, or how did that happen?
I'm going to say that since it's all, I don't have all the information. You can only listen to the recording, and you obviously don't get all the information. But if you follow the trail, J.D. Pritzker has donated a very large amount of money to the Democrats, and because of this, they're obviously going to do a pay-to-play situation. What was I saying? It's J.B. Pritzker, whatever. I don't know what I've called him for a while now.
A couple times it was JD.
JD?
That's all right. Yeah, that's all right.
Scrubs. Yeah.
It's like he's your buddy. Hey JD, what's going on?
Yeah, John Dorian from Scrubs. So JB, he has donated a lot of money, and he was caught on a wiretap with Rod Blagojevich, and they were discussing what you would like to be, and he did bring up state treasurer to JB Pritzker, and JB said, "I would like to be state treasurer very much." And so we know that there might be a pay-to-play situation going on.
What is with this fascination of people who are millionaires, multimillionaires, or billionaires that want to, like, how many millions of dollars did J.B. Pritzker spend already? Like 70 million, 40 million, something like that.
Yeah, you said like 70 million that he's already put into his campaign.
Is being the governor of Illinois really worth that much?
Of your own money too?
Yeah, is this
is it that personally glorifying that you need to pay 70 million of your supposedly hard-earned money? Who knows how he got it?
I don't know. Maybe is it just about ego? Is it about power? Is it about control? Like, I don't quite understand.
It's obvious that, like every other politics, in my opinion, that the more power you have, the more money you can give out. Being the governor of Illinois, you have a little more sway on what's going to be handed out to people between unions and power to other politicians, different types of contracts to different types of companies. There's a lot in stake between that and the power of all the states. You get an extra Democratic governor. Now it's one more Democratic governor in power, one less Republican. That's a lot of power to the Democratic establishment. There's many things that go into this. And
I saw there was a stat that said there's like 39 national governors races this year.
Wow, really?
Yeah, 39.
Wow. I don't really see the.
I think the majority of which are Republican.
Yeah, they are at the moment. I don't have the numbers, but they have 35 or something like that out of the 50.
Out of 50, yeah.
Yeah, they have the majority at the moment. So it is kind of something that the Democrats are going to have to work hard to try and take back the majority at this moment, and they're willing to spend the money, I believe.
Or J.B. Pritzker's willing to spend the money.
Yeah, I guess. I didn't tell you this. You might know this because like I said, you're older than I do. I was only 6 at the time when this happened. Okay. But in 1998, he ran for U.S. representative of the 9th district. Which, is that where you're at? Are you in the 9th district?
No, was it 2nd or 3rd district?
So he was running for the 9th district, the U.S. House of Representatives. He spent, I got the numbers here, hold on, $500,000 on his own campaign for a U.S. House of Representative in 1998. He came in last place in that race. I found that really funny, and I had to make sure I made a note of that.
So he's got a lot of money, but he's not very likable. Is that what I'm hearing?
He must not be. I don't know. Maybe he's learned after the past 20 years, and maybe he's learned how to become.
Reminds me of Jim Oberweis a little bit. Although he eventually got in an office, didn't he?
Yeah, I remember.
He ran a lot.
He did. I don't know why. I think he was facing off Bruce Rauner 4 years ago, wasn't he?
Oh, in the primary?
Yeah, was it primary?
Yeah, that because he's a Republican. That would have been a primary. That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, I remember it because I remember I supported Oberweis for no other reason than I wanted Oberweis milk.
Was he promising free Overweiss milk to everybody?
Free bottle of chocolate milk. And you did not have to return the glass jug if you wanted to get more milk afterward. I was pretty happy.
Republican Party. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out what his current office is.
Yeah, you look it up.
I'm looking it up right now, Jim Oberweis.
Because were you? I don't know who you're voting for in this next election, but tomorrow,
He's in the Illinois. Oh no, he ran. He first elected to. He's in the Illinois Senate. He ran for U.S. Senate. That was the most recent election, and he lost to Dick Durbin in 2014.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd even try to face off with Dick Durbin. I mean, it's a no-win situation for you. He's a machine politics, and he's not going anywhere. Are you supportive of either Bruce Rauner or Gene Ives, either one of the Republicans running?
I mean, supportive. It's funny. When you said Gene Ives and supportive, there's this one attack ad. It's supposed to be an attack ad, and it's like, the NRA supports Gene Ives.
that's what they go after?
Yeah, like that's the big thing. Gene Ives is against abortions. And it's like, oh, okay. This is supposed to be like I'm supposed to not like this, according to the voice guy.
Yeah, they're not really. I personally, I don't really pay attention to any of the political ads, and I don't really think that they work, anyways.
They're everywhere. Like I don't know how much is being spent by groups on political ads, but it's constant. It's like a constant stream on. Well, watch some TV in the next.
I remember
day
what
so.
It's like though. I stopped watching TV, especially during this time of year. I can't handle that. It's every commercial.
Yeah, I mean that's basically what it is.
Yeah, Gene Ives though, she is against gay marriage though.
I did see a clip about that a while back.
Yeah, and gay adoption, and she's actually pretty harsh stance on that. And I don't know about gay adoption. I don't really think I care too much. But she's one of the kind of women who believe marriage between a man and a woman, and that is marriage, and there's nothing else. And why? I don't know why nobody really kind of stands with that belief of why is marriage even a government-backed institution, anyways.
Yeah, what's it their business?
Yeah, what is it? Well, exactly. What is it their business for? So when you have a view like that, you don't really care if there's gay marriage because you don't really believe in the institution of marriage through government, anyways. I don't really think there needs to be some contractual obligation through the government. So
well,
I kind of have a problem, and I wish that. Go ahead.
Well, she's trying to get the more conservative Republicans to back her. I mean, that's what she's trying to position herself to say. Rauner's not as conservative as I am. He's not a real conservative, which I don't know that she might be right. But Illinois' problems aren't, social issues.
No, they're not.
I mean,
they're all financial at this point.
Financial.
We have social issues as well, like with our inner city issues, but.
Well, I mean that's a different animal. But as far as the state government goes,
it's
pension liability. That's how are we going to pay for that? That's the number one problem.
We have the highest amount of liabilities. I think me and you had this conversation. I believe it was me and you, it was actually maybe my father. Illinois supposedly beats California with total liabilities for pensions and for pensions.
I believe it. All the government workers in Illinois, all the union members in Illinois,
that's a crazy stat.
That's a lot of pensions.
California has double the people we do. I mean that's
yeah, but our guys like to double dip.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Work one job X amount of years, and go work another job where you get a pension for X amount of years, and then you get two.
Yeah, Rahm Emanuel.
We're in the wrong line of work.
Aren't we? Podcasters. Couple of winners here.
No pensions in there.
Eventually, the money will start rolling in. Believe us. All right.
I'm waiting.
You still waiting for the check? All right. But I did want to make one note, and we may have jumped around a lot.
This all might be moot in the next 24 hours after the election.
It's coming up on 12 midnight right now, actually, and it starts in 6 hours. So I'll be voting in about 6.5 hours.
You're gonna go out there at 6:30 in the morning?
Yeah, maybe 7. I get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I gotta be at work by 9. So I gotta make sure I get there early and get that over with. But
I mean, I've been ordered to vote by the letter. The letter told me I have to vote. The letter told me I have to vote, or else they're gonna tell everyone I didn't vote.
Are you gonna go shame your dad that he's that he didn't vote?
Oh no, my dad did vote.
Oh, sorry. Are you gonna shame your dad to make sure he votes?
Dude, he'll have voted by the time I wake up tomorrow. He'll have voted already.
He's waiting outside the door at 5:45.
I wonder if there is a line.
No.
At the polling place. No. No, you got there when it opened before?
Okay, no, but it's usually maybe one person every time I go to vote at these places. Not many people vote in America, you know?
I've never seen a polling place where there's like a line. Like, you know how you go on the news and there's like a polling place somewhere in the country and there's like a huge line and voters can't get in to vote and blah, blah, blah. They'll say, I've always just gone in early in the morning, strolled right in, walked up to the thing, voted, and walked out. Like, I've never had an issue with that.
I've gone at 7, 10, 12, 2, 5. I've gone at all times of the day.
You've gone in the afternoon and evening hours before?
Well, evening is closes at 6, I think. So.
Oh, what's 5 o'clock? What's it like in the polling place?
2 people instead of 1. It's so few people.
Well, turnout for primaries where it's not an election or a presidential election year is always pretty low.
Yeah, extremely low. Only people like me and you.
Oh, I didn't even tell you about all the texts I've gotten. I should have brought this up earlier.
Yeah, about what?
We were talking about Dan Lipinski. Kind of makes me want to not vote for him. But
you're gonna vote for Dan Lipinski?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, what?
I don't know what I'm gonna. Well, he does vote on things I agree with.
All right, I need to bring up to the listeners. I've known you for what, 5 years now? 4 years? 4 years?
Yeah, give or take. Yeah,
give or take around there.
There's a Democrat I'm considering voting for.
Yeah, I remember when I found out that you and I had similar political beliefs, which, aren't really on a spectrum.
There was like a ray of sunshine and then a rainbow that appeared when we found this out.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of clouds and rain right now after you just said that you might be voting for Dan Lipinski. It's a thunderstorm.
He voted against the Affordable Care Act.
He did. I'm still extremely happy that that even somebody, especially a Democrat, in my state voted against that.
It was a bipartisan effort to stop the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, I don't really know exactly who was in his pocket for that.
So I don't know when at some point in time, but I'm scrolling back in my phone in the messages. I started getting text message where the people are like, "Hi, Paul, this is so and so. We wanted to see if you were going to vote for Dan Lipinski for Congress on Tuesday, March 20th. Can he count on your support?" I've gotten like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 text messages asking me about that. So that's kind of annoying. Dan Lipinski, if you're listening to this podcast, don't do that kind of crap in the future. If you're gonna be reelected.
I have a total of 0 texts from politicians and 0 mail from blackmailers trying to make sure that I get everyone else to vote.
You're living in the wrong district, buddy.
I'm enjoying my nice suburbia life.
Hey, I got a nice suburbia life too.
Yeah, welcome to the good side, man. So I wanted to bring up one last thing because I may not consider myself a libertarian. I don't really consider myself any political party, but libertarians are the closest. I did vote for Gary Johnson. Terrible decision. Just a terrible decision.
Aleppo.
But there's a guy named Matthew Scaro, SCARO.
A libertarian running in Illinois?
A libertarian running in Illinois for governor.
What are his
And
stances?
His stances, he in fact is actually much more of a. He did work for Gary Johnson for the Illinois Libertarian Party. Now,
Strike one.
yes, I said the same thing, but he did an interview with another great podcast, Lions of Liberty, in case if anybody ever wants to listen to that, or if they want to send some of their listeners over here. Hey. And he did do an interview, and he is actually a very big believer in small government, limited government, but he understands that you can't sound like a crackpot trying to push limited government when the government's the size that it is. So he understands that he needs to try and start to limit it very slowly and at least try and get the message out of libertarianism to the mainstream. If he at least can get some movement in Illinois, it may be able to roll over to other states. And I'm very supportive of that. He also was a lifelong Republican, like both I think you and I were before recently. But
I don't know if I'd fall into the lifelong category
what were you?
for Republican. I was pretty apolitical until college.
Only conspiracies, right?
No, that wasn't until much later.
Alex Jones. Just Alex Jones life.
The frogs.
The frogs are turning gay.
Yeah. 1776 will commence again.
You gotta love the fact that there's a person like that in the mainstream. You know, he really is a great thing.
Is Alex Jones the mainstream?
Yes, he's in the mainstream.
I don't know. He's not on a television network.
He's got his own television network.
He's more infamous than he is famous, I think.
That's fine. I'd rather be I'd take infamous as his level. Can you give me that status?
Yeah. I would certainly like his status. Yeah. Maybe not his reputation.
Yeah, I'm doing okay as a podcaster, but
yeah,
I'll take a spot on InfoWars, Alex. But he was turned on to Ron Paul 2 years ago in 2016, and that was a change of Matthew Scarro's beliefs. And
he only found Ron Paul 2 years ago.
Yes,
and now he's running for governor.
Yeah, can you believe it? That's
wow.
And not only, I believe him because he actually started.
I found Ron Paul in 2008. What have I been doing?
Yeah, I've known about. Since 2012 now for me, and Jesus, like it never hit me like it hit this guy, but I'm pretty proud to know that there's a man who was that inspired by an extremely inspiring person, Ron Paul, and now he's running for governor. He jumped. He just skipped because he was running versus.
Well, you sold me on who I'm going to vote for in this election.
I'm so happy right now. So that was my job. That was what I was supposed to do.
Maybe I'll do a little bit of research on him.
Yeah, exactly. Good job. Do a little bit of that. I'll send you the podcast. You can listen to his interview if you want.
There you go.
But I hope everybody goes and votes tomorrow. Today being the 20th. Sorry, everyone vote today.
Yeah, now it is election day.
It is election
This is our election day preview episode.
Yeah, it's a good episode. So first episode back on attack for everybody, and I'm gonna get ready to go vote. But time to get ready to produce this and get some sleep.
All right, take it easy.
Yeah, take it easy, Paul.